Hello class, I hope you're doing well. Today we are going to go through some common mistakes that you made in your writing, and I hope this helps you in the future. So things that you should be careful about, things that you should consider when you're writing essays or whatever you are writing. Okay. Let's go. Oh, I've divided these things into kind of categories. So the first one is like tenses, then you've got the adjectives versus the adverbs, prepositions, articles. There are some words that you are using which are, kind of pronounced the same way, but they have different meanings, and about possibilities. Okay, let's see. So here I've got some mistakes from your essays, from your writing, and these are all about tenses. So class, please, you really need to learn your tenses. You really need to learn your tenses. You have to learn your auxiliaries. You have to learn your endings, and you also have to learn the irregular verbs when you are using them. So please take a look at these sentences. What is wrong with them? For example, the first one, where did they decided to settle? If you are making questions in past tense, the auxiliary takes the form of the past tense, and then the main verb does not have an ending. So where did they decide to settle, right? Okay. He have been gone for 2 months. Again, you cannot have he have. You have to have he has been gone for 2 months. So I have been gone, you have been gone, he has been gone for 2 months. Or what about this one? I haven't learned this enough. So something is missing. You need the ending. Learned this enough, right? You've got the S in third person. She takes care of herself. I take care, you take care, but she takes care, right? There are lots of these also. She's swimming right now, so she is swimming right now, right? And so on and so on. I'll let you do the rest on your own. Please take a look and try to correct them. Okay, the next problem that also concerns tenses is present perfect. Because we don't have present perfect in Slovenian, we don't really use it in English. So please try to use present perfect. You don't need to write she was and still is. He lived and still lives. So you are trying to make a connection between past and present. If you have a connection, think of the bridge. The bridge is always present perfect. So she has been, she has lived, or he has lived here, right? So if you are talking about the past and the bridge to the present, use present perfect. Another thing is if you are talking about the past, you have to keep it in the past. You cannot just switch mid-sentence or after one sentence in the past, switch to present, right? So my mom and dad broke up that year, so my mom goes to Germany and finds a job. No, right? You have to keep it in the past. So my mom went to Germany and she found a job, and so on and so on. And again, if you don't know where something happened, or you're talking about experience, achievements, and you're not concerned with when, again, use present perfect. Think about it, more deliberately. Can I use present perfect here? You probably could, so try and use it. Another thing that I've noticed is a problem is that you don't really differentiate between adjectives and adverbs. So think adjectives describe people, things, nouns, right? Whereas adverbs describe actions, states. So the verbs, they describe the the verbs. So for example, let's look at these very short sentences. What's wrong with them? How could we change them? So for example, she cooks good. So she does not cook good. She is a good cook, but she cooks well, right? She plays the violin, the piano, the guitar nice. She doesn't play nice, she plays nicely. And he walks slowly, or quickly, or something like that. And you have the opposite also going on. She is living a peacefully life. She is not living a peacefully life, but she is living a peaceful life, because the peaceful describes life, not how she is living. If you are to say she is living peacefully, then you need to use the adverb. And this one is perhaps, a different way interesting. My mum had a heavy life. What's wrong here? It's an adjective, so it's not the problem that it's not that it is an adjective, but you can't use heavy for this situation. So heavy is when objects, when things are heavy, so it is difficult to carry. Whereas if you're talking about life or something that is, traumatic, you want to use hard or difficult life, right? When we are talking about adjectives, also try to avoid nice, good, bad, really, especially when you use adjectives, you are constantly writing really nice, really good, really big, really small, really sad, really happy. Try to think of another word. So try to use another word for really nice, really good, really big. I don't know, perhaps gigantic, minuscule, tiny for something really small. Try to think of another word. The next thing that I want to talk about is prepositions. So always try and start sentences with something other than prepositions. So do not start sentences with and, or because, or and also, or but, or so, and so on. You can always turn it around, which you can do here in these examples that I've put up. So for example, in her 20s, she was really poor. You don't need to say in her 20s she was really poor. You can say she was really poor in her 20s. He left the next year. However, you can at least use however or something like that. So try to avoid but, and also because, and especially in the beginning of sentences, right? And try to always use to when you go somewhere. So you can't say she goes in Vienna, you can't say she goes in, I don't know, Barcelona, in New York, but she's going to. She's going to somewhere. Whereas if you are staying, if you are, in doing something like that, then you can use in, right? I'm staying at, I'm staying in, something like that. Articles are, of course, another topic. Here we could, talk a lot about articles, but you simply have to use articles in front of countable nouns, right? You can't say things like, she is nice mom, he lived happy life, she is a great person, and so on. So try to use articles, either indefinite articles or definite articles, before countable nouns. What about the last one? She has red hair. What do you think is the problem here? Is this okay? Yes, because hair is uncountable, so we don't use articles in front of it, unless you, for example, say if someone is graying, and you could say, oh, she has a gray hair in the middle of her, jet black hair otherwise. Here are perhaps, homophones, so words that sound the same but have completely different meanings, or they don't even sound the same but they're kind of similar, so you mix them up. So there are many of these, but I'm just going to perhaps present the ones that you misused the most. So think versus a thing, something like a table or something, whereas think. Then versus then, through versus though, for, funny, fun, these are all different things. So be careful. Last but not least, we've talked a lot about possibilities, about predictions, about, I don't know, things in the future. So always try and use modals. Try and use modals, try and use conditionals when you are talking about possibilities, predictions. What do you think will happen? I don't know. Try to express this with verbs, with modals, not just an adverb. So don't say things like, maybe we have the money to go, or maybe, you know, she will call. But you have to say, she could call, she can call, she might call. I don't know, she might call, we'll see, or she will probably call. I think perhaps she gets insecure. She can be insecure, right? Or maybe she gets insecure. Don't say that. Say she can be insecure at times. She might be insecure at times. She is probably going to be insecure at times. Okay. Hope you've learned something. Hope you've found some of your mistakes and perhaps, you know, acknowledge them a bit more, and hope this helps. Have a great day. Bye bye.